Dear radiant beings, as the flow of cosmic energy intensifies with unprecedented strength, we stand on the brink of the greatest transformations our planet has ever experienced. In these thrilling times, where light and darkness intertwine in an endless dance, we bring you a crucial message that unveils the essence of the changes unfolding and points the way to a safe and harmonious future. Great cities, where vibrations and frequencies blend into a complex cocktail of tension and stress, have become arenas for massive energetic confrontations. Each day, powerful egregores of destruction and chaos grow stronger, absorbing the excess fear and violence they emit. These ancient structures of decay, infused with fear and violence, begin to exert an increasingly tangible influence on the consciousness and energy of those who remain within their bounds. We urge you, if possible, avoid large cities and seek out quieter, more harmonious places. In this period of transition, it is crucial to stay aligned with yourself and your inner state. The energetic whirlpools created by modern social and technological structures can become significant sources of stress and disorientation. As we navigate this era of great change, you will start to notice that the world around you becomes more vivid and peculiar. Animals and the natural world will reveal new, previously unseen frequencies and sensations. These are signs that we are entering a new age where intuitive knowledge and natural harmony are key to our well-being. Prepare yourself for a future that will bring both challenges and wonders. In these incredibly pivotal times, Earth is undergoing a grand quantum reboot, cleansing itself like never before from centuries of duality and distortion. Powerful streams of energy emanating from the central sun are weaving into your planet like golden threads, crafting a new tapestry of reality. These quantum flows carry purification and renewal, transforming every corner of Earth's energetic field. Many of you are feeling the impact of this grand energetic cleansing in your personal lives. Your inner structure is undergoing profound changes, which may manifest as confusion, disorientation, and emotional upheaval. Old patterns and habits are breaking down, making way for new perceptions and forms of existence. Though these changes may seem challenging and even painful, they are necessary to make space for your new, brighter way of being. The need to clear outdated energetic layers is also becoming evident in your physical and emotional states. You might notice unpredictable thoughts and feelings emerging in your consciousness, which is entirely natural amid such a large-scale transformation. The support you receive from higher frequencies and cosmic energies will help you adapt and find harmony within this flow of change. As you may have already noticed, the current energetic shifts are not without difficulties. Many of you are experiencing increasing inner tension, feelings of being lost, and a lack of motivation. This is particularly acute in large cities, where powerful streams of old energy and high levels of stress are concentrated. In these environments, energy is often trapped in closed cycles of destruction and fear. The urban setting, filled with noise, rapid pace, and social tension, can amplify your inner anxieties and disorient you. Confronting this chaos can lead to emotional swings, where days of joy and inspiration are sharply contrasted with periods of exhaustion and frustration. You may also find that these energetic changes lead to heightened sensitivity and susceptibility to external influences. This can cause feelings of apathy or excessive excitement, depending on the current circumstances. The unpredictability and instability of emotions and thoughts are part of this process, and it's important to understand that these are temporary phenomena pointing to deep inner changes. These challenges are part of the journey leading to your higher awareness and a new reality. In these significant times, we witness a grand competition between light and dark forces, vying to shape and define the future of your planet. This conflict is unfolding in your reality through the confrontation of high-frequency and low-frequency energies. The forces of light aim to cleanse the Earth of residual negative layers, creating conditions for its ascent to higher levels of consciousness and harmony. The forces of light are using powerful cosmic flows and high-frequency vibrations to remove old distortions, renewing the planet and its inhabitants in a refreshed light. These energies facilitate purification and transformation, breaking the chains that once hindered development and evolution. In contrast, the dark forces are doing everything in their power to maintain their dominion. They implant low vibrational programs of fear, misinformation, and the distortion of human values to keep humanity in a state of ignorance and dependent consciousness. Their goal is to preserve old structures and mechanisms of control, hindering evolution and growth. This energetic conflict manifests in both your inner and outer experiences. You may notice how dark forces attempt to manipulate your attention, diverting it from what truly matters to trivial concerns, and creating situations that induce stress and anxiety. Now, more than ever, it is crucial to awaken and realize that you play an active role in this grand transformation. Your inner state and awareness are pivotal in overcoming current challenges and creating harmony in your life. Awakening requires not only recognizing the changes occurring, but also actively participating in your own transformation process. A key step on this path is trusting your intuition and inner knowledge. Allow your inner feelings to guide you, helping you navigate through the storm of external and internal changes. Each moment is an opportunity for self-discovery and growth, and it is your attention and intention that will determine how you handle challenges and seize the opportunities before you. Your connection to higher frequencies and your inner light serves as a beacon, illuminating the path during this period of change. It is important to keep faith in a brighter future and remember that these trials serve your evolution and growth. Do not fear the changes coming into your life. They are an integral part of the great evolution aimed at uplifting and expanding consciousness. Embrace these changes with an open heart and gratitude, knowing that you are moving towards a new reality filled with light and possibilities. You are the creator of your destiny, and your inner awakening will be the key to building a new, more harmonious world. These times demand courage and strength of spirit. You stand on the threshold of a new phase where the old makes way for a higher level of existence. Your ability to remain open to change and trust your inner light will be a powerful tool in this process. You are the architect of your reality, and your belief in a bright future will guide you through any darkness. May your soul be filled with light and hope, like stars in the night sky. Believe in yourself and in the future you are moving towards, one that will be filled with joy, prosperity, and light. Open yourself to new possibilities and let your inner light lead you to new horizons.